I say stock scan too.
All right, we got 2 people anyway challenging them. Okay,
Stock scan.
here we go. I think we're gonna do the stock scan first. I'll share my screen just once we figure out which screen I want to share. Let me see. Let me set up the screen for stock scan. All right. Some of you actually have gotten the lifetime membership and also received the Thinkorswim scripts, right? Where you guys have the ability to do the scanning yourself, meaning you can find these stocks and search. So I think this will be actually a good training guide for some of you guys that have it, right? And then I can explain in more details what you're actually looking at. And I'm just trying to find everything I need to switch here. Hold on a second. Here we go. So let me share my screen. Just let me know when you guys see it.
Yeah, we can see it. We can see the ES chart.
Awesome. Yes. Okay, so if you did get the clouds right and the searches, you would have gotten the scan, right? That's basically a multi-time frame scan. When I say that, you will see that there's something called here the study. This is the custom study that you receive, but the scanners are also set up here. It will allow you to pick which cloud bottom. Obviously, when I'm searching for stocks, I'm looking for stocks that are on the bottom of the clouds, meaning, they're at the bottom of their average true range. So when I search something on the bottom of the monthly, that means it takes quite a bit. Sometimes monthly cycles take about 66 working days to get there. If you go on quarterlies, right, you can certainly search there as well. I can run the scan and it'll find all the guys look at, for instance, right now, there's a lot of stocks that are coming up on the consumers right side here, and there's some healthcare stocks that are here, few infotech and then real estate stocks, right? I do have some parameters that I search for, right? If the minimum stock is 20, can you guys change this to be, a little bit less? That's your preference, right? I don't sometimes pick stocks below the certain price, but you can certainly do that, right? You can find some stocks that are way below beat down, right? I think we found some this way as well. If you guys remember, what was that company with a huge brand company that I forgot that ticker for some reason right now. We found those. PLTR was on that list at like $8 at one point. So we can change that, right? The min and max. You can find it if it's optionable, right? You can change that here if you want it or not. The bottom piece is important for me. Sometimes you get the spikes in volume. A lot of people just put a study here where you search volume is greater than 100, and they'll just find anything that popped one time. But I search where the volume is greater or equal to an average of 90 days over 500,000 shares. And why is that important? Why would you want something to be consistently with high volume?
You want liquidity.
Yeah, I'll give you one reason. Zach Morris, the guy from Twitter. You guys recall that guy? Wow. You guys never heard of him? Well, he
Nope.
is the guy that would have a short volume. He would have a low float stocks, and he would get his people to buy it. But he would be the majority shareholder on that one, and then he would basically sell that to you guys. So that's what you're trying to avoid when you're searching stocks that are, when you have a constant volume, that he can't share that much or, exchange that much auction. I'm trying to eliminate any of those short pop stocks, where you get trapped and you can't get out, right? At least for the price that you got in. So that's why it's that. So every month, quarter, sometimes ad hoc, as you guys know, we search for these stocks, right? Just so I can rebalance my own portfolio, right? In my portfolio, I have stocks that I don't touch You know, there's Pfizer, there's Intel, we have, in that one we had AT&T, I think we also had Verizon, VFC, we have Coke. There's other stocks that I don't touch less, you know, than a year. I'll let them go over a year for tax purposes, right? I'm not your tax advisor, but I hold them for over a year. And there's other strategies that you can use, right? And, you know, many billionaires use, like borrowing against stock portfolio instead of paying taxes. You don't pay taxes on debt, right? So a lot of people like Elon and those big boys to actually borrow against their stock portfolio. So hence the reason why I don't really sell them. If you need liquidity directly out of it, you know, you can wait for a year and get the cap tax rates, or you can borrow money against it, right? I don't know if you guys know that or not, but that's something, if you have a larger sum, you can do that, or a smaller sum, you can play with both sides. So with that being said, does that give you guys what we're doing here today? Does that give you guys a good picture of what's happening?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and start searching first on the monthly, right? We're gonna keep everything the same here. I dropped it here to about $10 just to see what's happening, right? And then you'll see some of these sectors that are kind of like a leverage trades on the top. And you see this, like there's some directions like 2-3 bull, I would call ETFs. I'm not big on those just because of the decay that it might have. So I'm not huge in finding them. Sometimes I'll play them, but it's better if you just kind of ignore them for now. So with that being said, let me bring up the energy stocks because that's the first one that we have. I'm gonna try to minimize this as much as I can so we can maybe fit this on one screen. How's that? If you guys know, my tech skills are not maybe as good as your guys, so you gotta have to be patient. I'm sure there's a better way to do this with multi-screens. But that's good enough for me. All right, so Hall, I think this one's been on our list, and if you guys see one that you want, you can certainly look at it. So this one here, we're kind of looking to see, you know, what's going on with the energy, right? So we can anticipate the blends also to shift here with the summer to the winter blend. So let's see, you know, what we got here. So this one is building right below the monthly bottom. Quarterly is around 15. So I would only consider this now if it cracks about 23, and then you'll be targeting 35. So that's the play on Hall. I'm just going down the list here. SLB is also pretty big. They all have identical profiles. We had one full send here that executed nicely, and now we're back. I honestly think they might even try to push this to about 22, which is $10 below. So that'll be interesting to see. But nothing yet here. Oxy, I think some of you guys might have that in their portfolio. Okay, this one looks interesting. Okay, this is exactly what you want from the setup standpoint. Does anyone know what happened here in terms of setups that we use for the clouds?
What happened?
So there's a setup that we play with the clouds, right? There's actually 4 setups. This was called a bearish setup, right? It went below, and pay attention to this monthly cloud right here. Right, so this is our monthly cloud. When the price goes below it, and then it reclaims the cloud inside. This is the inside the cloud, since this is the inside, this one's the outside. It reclaimed the inside of the cloud. There's a very, very high chance that this is headed right now to explore the $62 right here. So I think this is not a bad play right here. Long term, and maybe even options. If you think about, I would say maybe what are we in? This is August. if you target mid-May, right, with some calls on this, targeting 60, I think it might not be a bad play on Oxy itself. So I'm just gonna take a look at quickly what does Oxy have in terms of options. See, so it looks like June of 2026. And the 60 calls are about $1. A March goes down to about 64 cents. So a March calls might not be a bad idea for this one here. And I'm gonna consider those in my portfolio here. Just gonna jot that down. 817 today. 2025. Oxy, options, shares.
Jordy, these clouds are included in our membership.
If you purchase the lifetime membership, where we offered that deal not too long ago, I included these clouds for Tusk, right? Otherwise, you don't get it on the monthly just because I can't control the access to it. Otherwise, you sign an NDA and all the other stuff here.
Okay.
You can message me and compare something out.
Appreciate that.
Okay, so I'll look at the Oxys. I'm gonna be looking at March 2026, 60 calls. They're about 64 cents on the ask. Shares are not a bad idea here as well. And also this correlates directly right to crude. So when you're trading this, it's worthwhile to look at, where's the crude setting as well. And if you take a look here, crude was kind of consolidating. This is weekly candles, right? So if the crude was to come down a little bit, 5 points here, that might be a decent setup, right? Eventually crude's gonna go to about $85 a gallon. So this will be an interesting setup then for Oxy as well. As you guys know, Warren Buffett's in it, that it changes a lot, but you see what happened with UNH. He announced $5 billion purchase and nobody noticed that he sold Apple and Apple didn't sell off, but everybody was focused on UNH. Let's see, what else do I have here? Oxy, Murphy was good. It won't be good. So it won't play out too well. For anyone that likes dividends, this is an excellent dividends payment as well. And this one hit the full cent and the monthly bottom to a penny here, and then it just bounced almost $4, which is pretty decent on a stock like this. But this is a really, really good dividend payment. I think it's, let me just check here. This fund has dividend yield about 7.6%. So think about it, if you buy it at 14 and you're getting 7.6 dividend yield, that's pretty good returns, guys. So this one is, I wouldn't necessarily buy it here just because we're in a quarterly cloud. If it comes down to about 15, 14 and a half, this is not a bad ad at all. Especially for people that have a long-term port. I do already have some of this, but I might consider adding for kiddos. Just take your notes. Okay, where is this? You guys see something you like? I'm going down the material list here. I remember this stock at one point.
Look at FMC.
Well, this is, what is going on here? Wow. Well, this looked very good here. Well, this looks prime for it. Just see for a second. What is CHP?
I think they are around electric charging stations.
Yep, I'm looking at this. I mean, municipal buses, port airport warehouses, other industrial applications, as well as ride sharing services. They are based out of the United States. And just so you guys know, when I look at companies, I go here on stockanalysis.com and then I just kind of read their profile if I don't know what they do. AK report actually is pretty good to read if you've never read one. Suggest that you guys potentially look into that, right? Kind of read this, and if there's a 10K report, it might not be a bad report to go through. But here, this is where I just kind of see what are they doing financially. And they're getting a little, they picked up and then they failed, and it'll be interesting to see who partners at some point, you know, to cover US and other countries. Who's the runner, right? I'll be interested to know in a company like this, what would you guys care for? Like from statistics standpoint of a company, what do you guys care for in a company that's providing something new to the market?
Cash on hand.
Okay, what else?
Growth?
Year growth.
Okay, the growth. You want to know maybe just when you think about like Starbucks, you know, back in the day, you care about to see growth. How many stores are growing? How many charging stations do you have? Then you look at their revenue, then you look at what is a, you know, revenue per charging stations. At least that's how I would calculate these things, right? But it'll be interesting to see what all does it have, right? So from cash flow, right, they're pretty negative, but it's reducing, right? There's some, well, they're paying somebody up the ass with their stock options, so. But they're getting a little bit better on the net cash flow, so. I have to, I mean, this might not be a bad stock, just looking at the profiles too. Right, a bunch of people, I mean, I can't believe it. Something like this looks like it had some reverse splits. This might not be a bad play. Just put $5,000-$10,000 in it and let it sit. Don't bother too much and see, you know, if it catches some news regarding this. But I'll have to read this. But I don't mind buying stock like this with a decent upside. If you guys know any of these charging companies, that's probably not a bad investment. But this does look pretty good, guys. Monthly bottom, weekly bottom. I mean, just think about it. If it goes anywhere towards 25, 40, which it can, any news will drive this, and that'll be a bad play. Yeah.
Looking at something like the clouds, your stop loss, are you switched over?
Say it
Would it be
again.
under, would your stop loss be under that, I don't remember what you call those pink areas. What do you call it? The monthly lows?
Yeah, so these are called, like, you see the monthly bottom, monthly cloud, right? So you have
Top,
monthly and the
right.
weekly. You would put that somewhere like around here. You would place it below the cloud. Typically, they don't crack against too often. And then,
Right.
you know, for folks that have these clouds, right? So I'll show you guys another trick to pay attention to. Give me 1 second, let me bring it up. So you'll see here, for instance, on the curvy clouds, I'm just showing flat so you can kind of see it. Here, we can also tell when the cloud is shaded, and you can see that this cloud's on top is shaded, right? But you can definitely change this from quarterly, let's say, to monthly. And you can see that this is compressing right now for a major move, right? When the clouds compress like this, there's something gonna pop, right? And in this case, what do you guys see about the color of the cloud here on the monthly?
Great.
Which one is shaded?
Yeah, the shade is different. I don't know what that
The
means.
bottom one is closed. When the color is closed on the bottom, there are very low chances that it's gonna break this low here of the cloud. So right now, this might not be a bad play, and I'll put in probably $10,000 to $15,000 in it and see what it does, because it could easily double here to about 24. So I'll just probably do that on Monday. Throw some money in. I don't know if they're optionable, but this is one of those where you put in $200-300 and something crazy happens. Tesla announces that it's gonna partner with them, and then all of a sudden everybody starts going into it, right? And I'm just looking at their options over a period of time right now. I'll show you something here. Let me share my screen so you can see that somebody's right here. Somebody's really, really interested. I'm looking where they're buying it. Majority they're buying in the money here for Delta for the call side here. There might not be a bad play here. Calculator, but I think it might play out nicely with the minimal risk. So I'll probably add this one as on Monday. Consumer discretionary. So this is where things get a little bit interesting. Off the list, we have Lulu. I think we want to see on this one. We want to see very close to quarterly bottom here. But this one probably bottomed here, guys. Lulu is probably bottomed for now. They're probably going to do a bounce here to about 250 from here.
What's that green region called?
This one here, we see the number 129,600.
Yeah, what is that area called?
So that one is called the quarterly cloud. You see every cloud has its name. So like this one has a monthly top, weekly top. It's very rare for a stock to go to quarterly clouds and not bounce. And you see they tapped here a few pennies. Let's see, I'm trying to be fair here. It came to 185 and this one is at 181. I'm pretty certain that this is for now the bottom. I would love to get Lulu at 162, 167. But I think this is the bottom for Lulu right now. So I will probably get back in. We were in at 220, we sold 250, so I might get back in a little. It might be even better options maybe here. I think they have earnings coming up. Yeah, it looks like the earnings here is earnings 9. So September 4th is the earnings. I think I might just jump in calls actually on Monday.
Would you aim for 409 or you would aim for the quarterly top?
So if you aim for 409, which is the whole cycle of the mountain, right? And you can see here, I'm on the weekly candles, right? So let me show that. It's a good question. So of course, each one of these candles is 1 week, right? And you see, it's taking quite some time to get to the bottom. So here's monthly, right? From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months it takes to go between monthly top and the monthly bottom, right? You see that? So if that's the case, then I have to appropriately time the options for 400. So that would mean 8 months from now, which will put you somewhere in April, May of 26. So if you want to target 400s, then you have to go, I would say, next year, March. Let me see how much they are going for. And they're going for, right now, they're going for $2. It's a pretty decent spread on the 400s, about $25 for March. And those are quarterlies, right? So you could target something like, let's see, I would probably for this, I will not wait that long. I don't want to time my capital that long. on this one. I would probably play October 17th. 250 calls, and the spread is actually manageable. So this would be October strike for 250. I'm probably gonna get in those tomorrow. And they're about $470 a pop, so probably put in, maybe $5 in it and let them sit. If their earnings are good, which I believe they will revise their guidance on here, there's a very, very high chance this, and I'm pretty certain we're gonna hit year end 337, 318 on Lulu. So if you want to make some short-term money, that's, I would say there. I think this is a pretty decent candidate for that. So I'm gonna go in Lulu tomorrow, maybe even shares. I'll let you know, but I'll target at least 250 with October strike. Let's see, Crocs. Yes, I support this company really heavily too. Kids, I don't know why they love these shoes. But you see, for instance, same thing here, right? Completed monthly bottom, monthly top, completed the bottom. So where do you think they're headed to right now? Yeah, they're gonna go to top, and this is how I'm able to, I've grown I've shared my portfolio results, like this year I'm at 120% year to date on long-term portfolio, and it's just buying at the bottoms and selling, and I just time it and wait. For instance, when we did AT&T, people were freaked out. It was on. Everyone was freaked out here. Don't AT&T is gonna die. I'm sure. I loaded up heavily here. I think at one point it was 36% of my portfolio in AT&T. And look now, you hit the. You asked me what is that cloud? It's the quarterly bottom, and look where it's stuck. Necessarily I wouldn't buy it here. I sold everything here somewhere 26.5 or so. I don't have anything, and I closed it 2 weeks ago. Last piece of AT&T, I think I had almost 160K left. I closed everything there, and I'm out. No more AT&T. Collected the dividends all the way up here, and now I'm out. I loaded up the boat here. And it just takes patience. I buy, and it's hopefully over a year it takes to get there. And when it does, I just get rid of it. Let's see, Crocs. I'm actually looking at this one. I wish I'd seen it maybe a little bit sooner. I mean, it's not too far, right? $84. I would have to just scan their analysis, right? What have they done lately? I know they had like a period where they were just everyone was buying the shoes because they had those attachments or whatever you call them on the shoes. Yeah, I'm just looking here. Something happened, right? So you guys see here how their sales went 2020, double digits. They doubled again, and look now. What do you see about their sales?
Increase.
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the trend here, it's going up, and then a massive, on 12 months trailing, it doesn't look too good. Could you play this, right? You're gonna have major resistance here. If you're gonna play this, this is gonna be your, once they clear 116, they're gonna hit 155, easy. But right now, just for me, I would not buy it here. I'm sure we can find something that's a little bit more. Caesar. People like to gamble money. What's wrong with this company? I thought they're doing good. Mm-hmm. This actually doesn't look bad, yeah. It doesn't look bad at all. quarterly bottom, monthly bottom. The worst thing we're gonna get out of this is 44. I'll take a look at this too. This is not bad at all. There's no selling, slow down. Maybe you can see if there's anything interesting showing up. I mean, even if you catch this, let's say from this level right here, this is 30% return, just 31, guys. This is highly doable. 44 would give us, talking about 75% returns. It's not bad. I'll probably add this one on Monday as well. Six Flags, they're a public company. Yeah, they're on a quarterly, monthly, but I don't even know that it'll still go there. Portland, it looks like they had a pretty meaningful split. Let's see what are they doing. They lost their CEO, that much. So they dropped into single-digit growth this time around. And there's two things working out for us to buy this. Does anyone know what that is?
They have really good burritos.
Yeah, they're good. $18 burritos, I agree. Anyone else? So on the weekly, right, we have a full cent on the weekly off of the quarterly mid, right? So the green dotted line represents the middle of the green cloud. It's the weekly bottom, and then it's also the monthly bottom, right? So this is actually this is the setup that I would buy over and over and over. Do you guys recall anyone that we had recently like this one? You guys recall when we talked about Hum here? We're talking about it here as well. Yeah, I don't know if you guys recall, but this was on a daily. It had a full cent here, and look, I mean the result was $90 run from this one. Highly likely I'm going to go into this, guys. On let me see here on CMG, a monthly full cent is pretty good for me. So I'm going to be buying CMG. Yeah, this has a monthly full cent, so I'm not going to ignore that. I will definitely consider buying this.
Can you get calls on that?
I believe they're optionable. Let me make sure. Oh, they are. Yeah. So this is headed. So we're gonna need. This is headed to $56, right? So we're talking about like 30% growth on that. Minus their earnings. October 28. So you want to catch that run up. So we got to look at November. I'm sorry. So, man, November 50 calls are really good. November 50 calls. They're about $1.30. So you're probably going to get a 130 or so. It's actually not bad at all. That's on CMG. very high chances they're gonna recover this to above 55. Well, I don't support their $15 burritos. I'm sure some of you guys do. But this looks pretty good, guys. This looks pretty good for ads. So from option standpoint, you can see that this was the balance at some point, like right here, right? So they're coming back, and this is the retest of that. If they decide to go to higher prices, this is it. So now they just became affordable for who in terms of investment? How many of you wanted to buy CMG at $1,500 a share? That'll be like the question. But anyone want to buy them at 1,500 a pop?
No, so I think they now retail can buy it.
Well, they're targeting retail, guys. They want you to come in, right? To retest these lows. Are there going to be other time frame participants here? Yeah. So I'm going to buy the shares and options on this one, guys. I'll be in on this one definitely tomorrow. Let's see what else. American, I had a friend actually email me on this one, asking me what do we have, and this is typically what happens when you have a full send at the bottom here. So you're talking about $9 to about 13 so far. Let's check my I mean, this is ready to go as well, guys. And he told me that his daughter is all about this store. And I don't know if you guys have kids or not, but it's a good gauge to see what they're actually into. And I don't know if they're optionable. I can tell you right now. AEO. They're optionable, and it's actually not too bad. Their earnings are when? Oh, earnings are next week. The only thing is they're about to get brought back down. They're about to be brought back down. I think what you're going to see from earnings, they're going to do this, and then they're going to bring them back somewhere around here. So, somewhere around here, they're going to get that. I'm going to put it down. I'm just going to buy and hold. Ideally, what we want about 11 to 10.5. I don't know if they pay dividends. I doubt it. But maybe they do something little. 4% yield, not too bad. 50 cents on annual dividends on a $12 stock. And not too shabby. With the potential to double. This reminds me a lot of AT&T, guys. Not saying in terms of business and the value they provide, but not bad. I do expect this company to go bankrupt. I wouldn't touch this. Target. Oh, we have a full spend on that on Target, guys. On a monthly. I do have shares at Target, but this is very good opportunity. I will definitely add Target actually.
Will your wife be spending a lot of time there with the holidays coming up?
Yes,
I'm in.
yes, that's my most painful store. So this is going to 170, guys, within a year or so. I'll load up more on target. I was building a large position in UPS, but this has a better setup. Again, market option, right? Let's talk about this for a moment. So we came back right into the demand where they're coming, right, where they accumulated for a longer period of time. You probably extend this for a little bit, but let's not do that now because I'll protect everything else. We accumulated here, right? We popped, they gave you a nice retest, they validated. Of course, the rest is history, right? 2020, whatever happened, and then the tariffs came in and they brought it back. And this is a full send on the monthly, on the bottom of quarterly monthly, guys. That this is same exact setup that we played before, numerous stocks where they catch momentum shortly after. I'm just looking at what options have some liquidity on them. 1 second, I'm missing something on my columns here. Okay, so open interest. Not much happening here in the first quarter. So there's some open interest for what is this? 150s for June 2026 has a very, very high open interest. Let's see, May, nothing on me. Again, 150s for January of 2027, also very high open interest. I'll add target. Add more target. I'm not sure who's on craft times. I'm already there. I have a good position. I'm not adding more, but it's an excellent setup. Right on the bottom of the quarterly, tap the quarterly. That's where we started acquiring and bought it, right? So now we're targeting about 37 on Kraft Heinz. So you're looking about 35% upside on Kraft Heinz. That one's really good. I believe they're optionable, but I don't play.
They pay dividends too, right?
Oh yeah, okay, pretty good. That's I would say that's also in Buffett's portfolio for a reason. Their dividend yield 6%. So this one's really good. Crocs, I don't know if anyone's in. I also have that in my portfolio. Not going anywhere. This is again, from here you can at least, if you're happy with this growth, you're talking about, I don't know why it doesn't stay about 33% or so, and then quarterlies would be about 60%. Hopefully it takes more than a year. And this one has also, I believe this one has a much higher yield. I remember this one is all 4.5% as well. That one's not bad. I'm just going down the list here, see if I see anything. Mark, that one's a good company. Oh, this is a good company to have in your portfolio. And they also have 4%. Yeah, this is a stable company and investment. This is a pretty good ad on Mark. Long-term hold. Let's check this one, see where I can fit it.
It's okay. It's okay.
Let's see, where is this one going?
Oh,
Buddy, what are those numbers?
Which one's fine?
Like you see the one that's on the top of that cloud? Excuse me, inside of that cloud, on the bottom cloud,
This one?
the left. It says one there.
It's just I have an Elliott wave study, and it tells me when the new wave is starting. So Elliott waves is based on 5 cycles, right? 5 waves first, third wave is the longest, the fifth. This one failed here, but this one is starting fresh with the first wave, and you see the first wave comes in. So, and you can calculate this based on fibs. I actually have a study that can do that. That would do something like this, right? And the third wave could go here, and then maybe the fifth comes up to the top. So these are your Elliott waves. That calculate the path.
You have
Based
classes
on fibs.
recorded. You have classes recorded with all this information, I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, there's cloud to call. Yeah, there's classes that
Okay,
cover
cool.
it, but I don't incorporate Elliott waves much, but I incorporate Elliott waves because it helps me with my full sense signals. They do play a role on the full sense. So, yeah, this is accumulating. The big boys I buy, Mark, guys. I'll be buying it as well. So we are here. If you guys see anything that I'm missing, yeah, please scream. I think somebody said Sophie, what it's called. I had this one, guys, very cheap. I think we had this one at like $5 at some point. Yeah, and here, this one completed basically all the cycles here just now. Not necessarily what I initiate any longs here. If you have, this is the all-time high, seems like here. I'll be very careful, right? I mean, I'll have a meaningful pullback probably to about $16. I wouldn't add here on this. If you bought it when we did, this is pretty good. PayPal, I can take a look at it. That one had a nice balance on the bottom, if you guys remember. Quarterly, same setup. If you guys are noticing where the quarterly and the monthly kind of align like this, it becomes a no-brainer, right? So if you take a look at, for instance, CMG, let's take a look at this one here. So here's the quarterly mid, weekly bottom, and the monthly bottom. So that's a very similar setup there. So PayPal right now. PayPal at 61 to 59 is that's where it's headed right now. That's where it's going to go, and it has earnings on October 28th. So I would target this zone right here for if you want to buy PayPal right here between 55 and call it 60. And then you would hold on to this for a bit. If you're holding it right, your ultimate target 175. And you see that they're struggling to break the monthly cycle here, top and bottom. Whatever this is, I would not buy it here. I would sell it here. GBX, I think somebody else, was it you? Yeah, don't, definitely not about here. Again, it hit the quarterly bottom, and just for teaching purposes, right? So this was at the quarterly bottom, and it took a long time, and it completed it to the quarterly top here. So the cycle is done. Once they lose 47, it's going back down to 31. I wouldn't touch it. This is something new. Oh, this is Reddit. Yeah, they're selling with both. They're offloading IP here so heavy. This is going to 210 very shortly. Yeah, it's gonna go to 180 within 3 months. IP. Yeah, this is going Even lower. 180 is almost certain, but then is it optionable? I'm assuming that's why I'm asking. Let's take a look. God almighty, their options are inflated. IV right now is about, man, yeah, I wouldn't touch this right now. That is pricey options on this thing, man. So when's their earnings? They just had it. Oh wow. That's why they're running. Take a look at something here. I don't know how they make money.
Yeah, Shorty, what IV is considered to be like okay? Is it
Well,
20s?
yeah, 30s, 20. This one is a 70%.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
I just basically what you're paying is that you're gonna play somebody else to be uncertain about the stock. Let me see what they're doing here on I. Man, I'm looking at January 2026. Add the money, right? Puts are about 70% IV. Might not be a bad idea to sell some calls here. I don't know if anyone got some shares cheap price, but this is if I had shares, let's say IPO came out somewhere at 50. Well, this is excellent spot to start selling some calls here. Because you know, on your calls, you're gonna be collecting IV as well. Yeah, 70% IV on the calls. I mean, this is even for let's say the 300 for January, you could make $2,500 for 300 calls. If I had shares in this, I would be all about selling this 300 calls. You have 1,000 shares, you can make 25 grand on the on selling options here. So hopefully that answers it. IP. Let's see. What is this one? TTV. I remember this one. The trade desk. Wow. Must have had a bad earnings or something. Not pretty good earnings. Why did it sell off? Hmm. I mean, it's actually not bad. They're still selling it for some reason. I mean, their free cash flow yield is the highest it's been in 10 years. Not sure what's going on, unless somebody knows something news-wise.
They've changed the CFO, but that should not matter much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was a high profile CFO. I'm just looking here. So they're included in S&P 500? So they were added on July 14th. I'm just reading up, sorry guys.
In the news, they are saying because the large brand advertising slowdown, that's why it has gone down. But don't know. If
I'm
that's the
just
real
looking
reason.
at their financials. I'm gonna take a look. They're growing a double digit, right? And their cost revenue is a little bit. Cash flow is actually not bad. So here they probably had some investments. If you look at the free cash flow is growing here. I mean, this is the lowest P that they've had. Just looking here, what is this quarterly cloud? This one. I don't see them going to 21, but I mean, not that it can't. This one's a really interesting one.
Yeah, and I don't know how we feel about price target, but many analyst has like downgraded the price on this.
Yeah. What I'm just looking at the monthly, how it's been. So I'll show you guys what I'm looking at, just to kind of. Let me show you guys. I'm looking at my other screen. So if you look at the monthly behavior of the stock over a period of time, so here's the sell-offs, right? It started off here. This was a really, really good sell-off, and I'll explain why. So if you guys look here, you guys see the color shading changed here between here and here. This is typically where I would load heavily. That happens like change. They get inside the cloud, and the cloud. That's a cloud closed here. That means there's a very, very low chance it's going to break higher and persist. And then you see that on this one, they came into a month. Even though the earnings that they had are actually not bad, but since they're including on January 22nd, typically when you add it to S&P 500, they sell you off. You guys know why?
What you off? You were cutting in and out.
When you are added to S&P 500, typically your stock sells off.
So that they can load it at a lower price.
Yeah, they want to load it at the lower price. And do you guys know about the rules? What companies are supposed to do when you are added? When you are added to S&P, there has to be a commitment to buy. So somebody has a commitment to buy, but they're not going to buy it. So they're looking for opportunities. I think there was a number, but I'll check. I know Tesla had a really large number. It was added, but here, I mean, this is not a bad ad. I really like this one, actually.
You wouldn't wait for that cloud to get darker. You would add being that it's at that bottom cloud.
Yeah, so right now, considering that it had this, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, but you see the auction is slowing down, right? On the monthly cloud here.
Oh yeah,
They had
see that,
aggressive
yeah.
selling, and you see that they're kind of slowing down here.
Slowing
So
down.
I actually would not mind buying this. Not heavily, judge your own investments, but I'll probably put in 50 and see how it does. It really could yield a nice. from here, probably back to this is offering you what, about 70%. So this is not bad. We'll add this one to my list. Thanks for bringing it up. And this is optionable. I've played options on this before, so interested. This does, as you guys know, I might as well be a majority shareholder here in Adobe. So the Adobe itself, just take a look at it. So here's Adobe right now. So it has a lot of divergences on the bottom. I'm on the weekly cloud. Second tap of the trend line, it tapped it from volume profile and trading view, and it bounced nicely. Now, ultimately, this wants to go to 411, 47. If it was to close this 570, pretty good returns from here. You're talking about 70% again. So if I was able to do that, I'd definitely close this position here, this level. But pretty sure this has a really, really high chance of continuing higher. And I believe their AI is quarter over quarter. So I would expect actually AI contributions to a bit. And a competitor just went IPO, Fig, but they only do a portion of what Adobe does. I also have Fig. I have it somewhere around here. So if they decide to go, because Adobe was going to buy Fig overvalued themselves, and so now, right, they're in this game of competition, but Adobe's they only do a portion of it. So that's relevant with Adobe.
Shorty,
You
you're
check
cutting
your
in
mic
and out
connection.
for
You're
me.
cutting in and out.
Okay, 1 second.
Hmm.
Is that better now? I'll keep talking and you guys tell me.
Seems like it.
Okay, people want to see Apple. I'm really shocked that Apple is very late to this AI party, unless they're letting everybody go in and they're gonna come in after. We'll do about 5 more minutes and then switch to the class. I don't know why, but the internet just dropped quite a bit here.
But you could check out Lockheed for me.
Yeah. So this one here, I would not touch right now. And you guys see that it bounced right off the monthly bottom here. This was our go long level at one point. I would not be interested on buying Apple here at all. This is a sell for me at Apple. Let's see. Tesla is going to about 364, same place where it left last time. So it's still accumulating, and we're in a major balance here of a couple of months. So if they're able to, let's say, crack this 380, they're going to 450. Ideally, if you want to buy shares again, this is our ideal spot right here. It would be somewhere around 160. But this is our quarterly and monthly middle. Hence, you see this major support being established here, right? Right. Oops. I used one click. So this is a major support right now on Tesla, right? If you want to be a long-term shareholder, it might test your patience, and you have to wait all the way up here because they went there once and then it popped and it went all the way to monthly and quarterly. Quarterly is all the way at 70. I doubt we're going to see it in the near future, but let's see. Tesla bull. A bull stock. Let's see what a bull stock does. Why it's taking so long to load? This is a fairly new stock, or it seems like it. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really have much for me to tell you here. From this view, I can't tell you much. I'll have to look at volume profile a little bit more. Seems like it was in tens. It bounced, almost doubled. If you're gonna buy it, it has to be closer to 11.10. Fig, I don't know what price they're gonna get to, right? I mean, it's just IPO'd, so I don't have much data, but you could probably double that from 70s easily.
Shorty, is UNH still a good buy or?
Bull, I'm not in it. No, I'm not in this. Is this what you're asking?
No, I'm talking about UNH.
Oh, UNH, yeah. UNH is, I mean, I wouldn't buy it here, right? Because this is maybe where some selling might occur. I think UNH was at a pretty decent level at that 240 at 8. It had major support when we looked at it last time. I think there was a bunch of clouds there. Let's see. Slow down here. So honestly, it's not ready for buying yet. I mean, if you miss this run, I wouldn't necessarily just add it yet. Once it clears 360, then it's on a rampage to run. Let's look at monthlies. You'll be a back holder here at this level. If it comes back to 270, 260, I think that's a fair level to buy, but you have to buy and forget on this. Right. And here's your monthly levels. Once it clears this monthly level, it can really easily, go back to at least 477. That's the next level you're looking at. But let it, if you're gonna buy something on momentum, let it clear 320 on this stock.
Got it.
LMT, I think that's Lockheed Martin. Give it a second. Oh, Lockheed Martin's at an interesting level, right? I actually had it in my portfolio, but cheaper price. But with Trump minimizing the wars and all this news, depends what your appetite is, right? It could definitely hold here, and if they decide to sell it, then the ideal ad, honestly, for me would be here. I wouldn't buy it here personally. I'd love to get it somewhere around here, 320s, 280s. I know it's patience, but that's the name of the game. So I'll definitely wait for this one. I'll do one more, and then we're gonna take a quick water break. KIO, PFE. If you guys know, I have this in my portfolio. Their dividends is unreal. So monthly bottom, we know we're gonna go back to 30s, 36, and 50s. At 50s, shorty offloads all of the PFE to you guys. Whoever is willing to buy it here, I will let you have it at this price. So I'm just holding, collecting dividends, and then once it's ready, new virus comes in, this goes to the moon. Unfortunately, I'm not betting on people dying, but let's just say COVID was not the reason people were dying. So once this happens, I would offload. Still a very good opportunity for ad here on Pfizer, because the dividend on that's like almost 8%. So this is for a long-term investor holder. I think it's like 8%. So annual yield is 170 per share. So this is a pretty good opportunity on Pfizer, guys. Okay, Pfizer, Nike. So we made a bank on Nike. I don't know if you guys remember, right before I left to see my mother. We were loading up, if you guys remember, on volume profile charts. For me, that was, I have it still, but I'll check. Yeah, this was, I didn't mean to move that. If you guys remember, this was our level that we set. We just load up as much as you can at this level, at the green level. They came right to it. You know, I started buying heavily. I had about 100K lots ready, and I started purchasing. They had supposedly good earnings. I don't remember what happened, but it just exploded. So right now we are looking to get this to 106. Once it clear this, let's say about area that's struggling about 78, we know we're going to get 90s, and then there's going to be a trap all the way to about 100. It might not be a bad spot to offload. I wouldn't buy it here. Buying was here.
The
What's up?
hexagon thingy that you.
Yeah, it's on the. I left one on the bookshelf in the sunroom. There's one there with the keys. It has the keys there.
No, not the keys on my. Just the driver.
A driver for it. I can look on that right now. Give me 5 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Okay. So that's Nike. Cover that. I'll do ACN, and I think we'll conclude there on this one. The ACN Accenture. Oh, I'm familiar with them. I wouldn't touch it till 212. It's gonna go there. They're consolidating here. And that they just ran a nice spring here. So if you can stomach, somewhere a drawdown between here and here, really good buy. If you can't, then you have a chance to wait and miss, or add here, and then you will have to add again here at the quarterly bottom. You see the whole quarterly cycle completed, but this is pretty good, right? They're a consulting company. Okay, I'm gonna give a few chances for folks on YouTube. Thank you guys for joining. I'll give you. I'm just reading the comments now since Rockets is not available. I don't know what this is. A rec. Yeah, typically I don't look at penny stocks, but this is going to $1 to a 98 cents level. So I wouldn't touch this, but that's just the level where it's going. Somebody's talking about Snap. I believe this is the social media platform. I'm not sure, but oh my God, this was $100 at one point. If you're gonna gamble your money on Snap, this is the level to gamble it. Yeah, this is the perfect level to gamble money on Snap. And I don't know if they're optionable, but this you can play some crazy options, like $20 strike. I would play it out for like maybe October of next year. Let's see how much they are. Let's see, this is the company I'm thinking of actually first. Snap. Profile. Let's see, what is it? Yeah, that's the chat company or whatever it's called. Let's see. Yeah, this is not a bad opportunity for Snap, guys. This is pretty good here. If you're gonna throw some loose change, this is the spot. Throw it right now. Yeah, don't expect it from fundamental standpoint to do great. But for some reason, their free cash flow is going through the roof. You have to look at that if you're going to be a long-term investor. I would think Snap is going to be bought out here by somebody, whether it's, I don't know, Meta or But this is gonna be bought out, guys. As this is a typical candidate in the M&As. I would expect them to be bought out. Actually, this doesn't look too bad, guys. If you're looking at options, I mean, they're so cheap. There's 64,000. Let me just take a snap of this. I can't move this screen because I will fuck everything up that I do. So just to give you an idea right here, let me know if you guys can see it. It's too little. Zoom in again. Well, if you guys can see it, take a look at the 64,000 for 15 calls for January 2026. About 65,000 open contracts on this, and they're going about $9. I honestly might just buy, $2,000 worth of these calls and see what happens. From the chart standpoint, that's where it's headed, guys. So actually, I'm gonna do that. And thank you, YouTube, for bringing it up. I don't typically look for long-term stocks like this, but this is a good loose change type of stock that I don't mind throwing some money on it. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. But this is a highly volatile, right? Meaning high risk between investment and just speculative play. This is a speculative $2,000-$3,000 that I'll put in. And I'm gonna play. What did I say? I'm gonna play January 16th calls, 15 calls. And they're about $9 each. This is not
And
bad.
Shorty, the IV will not matter here because it is anyway so cheap.
Yeah,
And the risk to reward is high.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, IV on this one is about 60, but this is more speculative, right? And it's super manageable. If you put in $100, you get 10 contracts. So
Okay, got it, yeah.
I think this is more of a lottery fund play, because if this does something like a meta buyout, this could cause some major, let's say I put $1,000 and it does something stupid, like where it does this, that $1,000 becomes quite a lot. You can wake
Yeah,
up to 100K, right? Easily.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I'm not saying it happens. Please don't take this the wrong way. This is more speculation. One of those stocks that I find something like this rarely. Like I played SPY, if you guys remember, not too long ago, where I took, I think it was $5,000, and I woke up to about $88,000 the next day. On Friday we bought it. Monday it went up. When you see something like this, we also had PLTR at one point. I think it was $8. You guys remember here? Somewhere we were talking about PLTR doing. I can look to find it, voice and whatever. But we said you buy some calls on PLTR and put a couple of $100, you can make some money. And if somebody did that, you honestly would have made quite a bit, right? What was the company for bikes during COVID? I have a bike in a garage. I forgot the name of it. It's a clothes hanger. What is it?
Peloton?
Peloton. Yeah, I forgot the name. Okay, yeah. So if you guys remember, actually, we talked about this one being a lot cheaper not too long ago. I think it was last time we talked about this being a speculative buyout by Lulu. Yeah, it was about $3 when we talked about it. So it just went up quite a bit, and this was the same play where one of my buddies, like, he actually sold his house and shorted this thing here with everything he got. He's retired now. Yeah, it's the opposite here on Snap. You put a couple of $100, you can make some money, and it's just pure 100 or nothing, right? I'll lose $2,000. If something happens, you can make a lot. So the RR is pretty good on that play. Hence why I said something about it, right? So I'll probably do that. ENPH was on my radar. I think I missed it. I missed the entry on it. Well, it's not too far from it. This is actually not bad at all right now. I thought I missed it. I thought it went to 20s, but it's actually at a pretty desirable level. This is a solar. You just look at their. Oh God, they're struggling. What in the world happened to them? Something happened with this company. I won't buy it here, but something happened here. They did something. Well, they did something bad, but this is gonna bounce. This is gonna bounce here, guys. The auction is stalling here. Monthly, quarterly bottom, actually. But they're losing market cap like crazy to somebody. They lost quite a bit of their market cap. If you guys know any of the big competitors, let me know. I wouldn't mind checking some of these guys out on solar. There's another company that actually I have a lot of shares in. Yeah, this is ready to go to 125. So it's probably gonna pop. Yeah, this is gonna go back now. This was back in the day when I accumulated stock options from this company. All right, let's see. Any other ones from anyone that you guys want to take a look? Okay, I'll do AMD, a few other ones, and I'll close it here just because my mouth's about to dry out too. Yeah, I'm not gonna beat the drum on this one, but AMD was was all in at this level. I think we had a zone on volume profile as well on AMD somewhere around here. Let's see if it was another screen. Yeah, this was our screen that we talked about, right? So I'll switch to normal candles. This was the level that we were watching for buy on AMD. Remember when we got MU calls, we grabbed $100 MU calls, if you guys recall, when they hit this. Those went, major upside, right? So it's the same thing with all the chips, right? The AI frenzy is there. So I wouldn't add here, but that's just me on AMD. If you bought them at 72, what's the worst thing that you can do? At least what I do on these plays when you make money on profits quite a bit. My strategy is, for instance, can they go for this liquidity at 230? Yeah. That's why I would sell them, as they come to this level like they are right now. I can sell them 240 calls. I can sell them 230 calls. Let's say you have 5,000 shares or 1,000 shares. You can collect the shares, sell them the calls, and if you're not familiar with the strategy, we can do another class than we did previously, where you collect the premium on these shares, and if it gets to that level, what happens to your shares if they close in above? Well, you just got to sell your shares at that level. So instead of you bought them at 70, you sell these calls, you get assigned, you sell them at 230, and you collect your premium, right? And you move on. So I would necessarily, buy shares here, but I would definitely sell some calls. And it's the same thing we did for Intel, if you guys remember. Last time when Intel came to 27, I was pretty vocal that I'm selling. I have a lot of shares of Intel. I sold a bunch of calls here at 27, and I even gave you guys heads up that this is going to be the same play as Boeing 30 years ago. For Intel, times are changing. Chips more important, I guess, than airplanes. We let the airplanes die, but not the chips. So, what are the chances we're going to get a double on this plus some more? I would say pretty high, right? I have lots of shares. I have January 27 calls as well. I have 26 calls on this. So, not saying, go all in on this, but if you can stomach, some volatility in it, sure. This is a much better opportunity just because US has to win and make sure that these chips are manufactured in US. I'm not going to go into the political and geopolitical risks, but this has to work out for US. If you don't believe me, I would say look at the study between Airbus and Boeing, I would say 30 years back, or more, I would say 40 years back. Take a look at that, how that played out, how the government stepped in. This company can't die. This is the company they have to secure to intellect, and I'm pretty sure they will. So this has much better upside than AMD, in my opinion, for return. Not saying AMD is a bad company. I love AMD, but if you're going to buy something, you know, TSM is good. ASML, if you want to look at it, if it comes back down somewhere cheaper, right? This is not bad, but look for stuff that hasn't taken off yet in chip space.
For Intel, do you still call it a good buy at this level?
Depends, right? If you're talking about, you know, a month, no. If you're talking about a long-term hold, would I buy here? Yeah. My average is much, you know, it's between here and here, majority of my shares. I think my
Got
average
it.
is 20, 27, but I can check if it matters.
Yeah, because after earnings, I believe it has touched 19 and then shot up because of the news lately.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, the late people on Intel, right? And it's been consolidating for some time. And if you just do simple analysis of volume, right? I'm just going to give you guys a quick lesson. So let's just delete this so you guys are not confused. We'll hide this orbit VWAP. So if you just look here, what's happening? Are you seeing a lot of selling here at the bottom based on volume? So just pay attention, right? So you have selling happening, low volume. Then you happen that what happens with when the price reaches the lows? Price reaches the lows, we go. Price reaches the lows, we go. And then here, you know, nothing so bullish around me forming, and then you have an uptick, people freaking out. Trump tweeted the government's going to get involved. Told you that, guys, what, last year that's going to happen. So now you're in accumulation. Most likely what they're going to do is they're going to go here to 30. They're going to come back, and this is going to be your retest and validation that you want to buy here. If you buy here, you might have a drawdown. You might have a drawdown to 20. Let them go up here. Don't worry, they'll come back. They'll give us 25, 26, and that's going to be your go-ahead signal for 50s. I think this has a better upside over a period of time than all the other ones combined. Wasn't Trump tweeting 2 weeks ago the CEO is a crook and an insider to China?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
he did
a,
that.
a week later, you're telling me you want to invest in a crook and an insider that's Chinese? Let's not apply logic, but yeah, they're buying it. They're buying it heavy. Volume is not lying here. If they were selling it, we would have been putting lower lows here. And if I wish they would give me 11, 12 on this. Right? No. All right. With that being said, I'm going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll do a market profile. If you're new to market profile, I'll cover the agenda that we're going to cover, the structure of the class, and then we're going to kind of go back and forth between, we can do PowerPoint. I prefer to give you guys live on a trading view, or if you guys want any other platform that I use, we can do that. But for visibility, we could switch back and forth, understand the terms, understand the concepts. What is market profile? And I'm not sure if Rocket's released. If he didn't release, you guys know that I'm probably one of the few people that have the class from the founder of it, Peter Settlemyer, right? So I have the audio tapes that he did the class for in CBOE floor in 1988. Maybe some of you guys were born, maybe not. So he's the founder of it. He did the class. I have the original audio tapes of the class. I'll share those if he didn't. I'll make sure that those are shared with you. I think he released maybe 3 to 5 audio tapes. I have a total of 16 that cover all of the trainings from the guy that came up with market profile. I'm pretty certain that nobody else has those, unless it's in a museum somewhere in New York. Okay, so we'll step away. It's 121. Let's come back like 126, 130, and then we'll continue with the class on market profile. And let's see where we stop. How's that?
Okay, thank you, sir.
Mhm.
Sounds good. Yeah.
Be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. Hopefully everybody else is too.
I'm here.
All right, waiting for you. Let me just shut down some of this Thinkorswim stuff. Done. I will share the link to the shares right now. So you guys have that document. All right, so you guys got that one. Out. Gonna keep that one up because I do need it for next week. All right, can you guys see my screen still, or did I cancel it?
You can see it.
So market profile, start with this. Let's see where we go. All right. Is there anyone that's never seen market profile, has no idea what it means? Anyone on in class right now? It's okay if you don't. If you're not familiar with it.
You have gone through previous recording of yours, but not a live class.
Okay. So one person, so everybody else will be able to answer questions fully then. That's good.
I
right.
am, and I'm trying to learn. So, but I've seen market profile, and I'm reading a couple of books on it, and
Okay,
yeah.
good. And you can message me. I saw your message on YouTube, but I can't
YouTube.
respond to it. Yeah, just shoot me a message here and we can sort it out.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Uh-huh. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and start. So the way I want to structure this, right, and we can go different routes, right, explaining certain, I would say, let me close this down, and any teachings, right, I can talk, you guys can figure it out, and you can show, and then I think most people learn visually instead of me just talking and you guys not seeing it. I think it's important you guys understand the basics of it, and then we go into the more details, right, as we get more familiar. So let's do that. So I will hide this, and then we'll share this market profile. So in order to understand market profile, one has to understand the market auction theory, right? Market behaves on the premise of the market auction theory, and a lot of people confuse that with how the stocks behave, right? A lot of people are, under a belief that there's a stronger seller or, more sellers versus less sellers or more buyers. In order for you to buy something, somebody's got to be willing to sell it. And in order to understand the order flow, which won't be covered today in class, order flow tells you who's more eager to buy or somebody eager to sell. That tells you the aggression of the bid or the ask side. That you see in the kind of the order flow footprint charts that we use as well. But that's not going to be covered here. But the auction itself that takes place, between two parties is basically to facilitate a trade, and it's almost equivalent to you going to a marketplace. I don't know if you guys where you live, but like Saturdays here by me in the town, we have, a market. It's basically a farmer's market. You go buy all the veggies and fruits fresh, and people negotiate. They're like, I'll buy a basket of tomatoes, and they're like, oh, I'm asking 35, and the guy offers 30. If the seller accepts that 30, that makes the seller aggressive or a buyer aggressive. Which one? It makes the seller seems more aggressive and eager. First of all, not that stocks are perishable, but in the veggies and fruit space, stuff's perishable, right? So if he doesn't sell that basket now, he either has to sell tomatoes individually, so it makes him a little bit more aggressive because he lowered the ask from 35 to 30, and the buyer offered 30, and this guy said yes, right? So it matches the highest bid with the lowest offers. And that happens so fast in the stock market now that we're electronic, right? That it's really hard to match that orders. And a lot of people say they can match orders, this and that, and you can't do that. Price can only be accepted or rejected in the market, right? If you've ever been to a core auction, right? And I've been some, and I've shared when I went recently, well, 2 years ago, to a charity event, right? Where people were bidding on a vacation and it started off at like 15 grand going once, 16, 17. Then you have the fake people that come in on those charity events where they're like, oh, 25, I want to have, blah, blah, blah. But you start, and then when you reach the top to a price point where there's an exhaustion of buyers and the value is not high, the auction slows down, meaning somebody's bidding 26,000 going once, 26.2, somebody raises a hand, and the participation of players slows down, right? And that's because the wallet of people that are there is not the same, and the perception of value of whatever you're buying is not seen as high. So only a handful of people that understand or value that will buy it. And it's the same in the stock market, right? So as we look at this market profile here, I'm just gonna kind of zoom out here and go, right? So here's TPO, it'll come up here for a moment. And I use them on RTH, as you guys know. A lot of this stuff you guys will not know at the beginning of the class, but you will at the end. And here's the class, right? I mean, here's the TPOs, right? Each letter that you see here, each letter represents 30 minutes of trading. So what does that tell you about this letter A? Where did the auction go? From what price to what price in A period? And A period goes from here. And if you want to see it actually broken down, we can focus on this last period, so I can split it. And it's called expansion, right? I can expand the blocks, and you see now it shows me where every letter spent. So the first 30 minutes traded where? Between what price? Between this and here. That's all TPO is telling you for now, right? The price of A period traded between 64.98 and 64.72. Then the B period started, it opened. When does the B period open? If this one is from 9:30 and it's 30 minutes, where does the B period start and finish? Let's make this more interactive so you guys can pick it up and learn.
10 to 10:30.
Yeah, so this one starts between 10 to 10:30, and this one tells you the B period traded from 64.84 all the way down to this period, right? To this price, 64.68, which makes A and B periods make something called what?
IB.
Balance.
Initial balance.
Initial
Yeah.
balance.
It makes initial balance. And a lot of times you guys will see it from a lot of people and even myself. We call that the IB. So initial balance means the first hour of trading, which is basically the first 30-minute periods, right? Which is A and B. So now I will ask you a question. If the IB is wide, what type of day can we expect, and what does that mean?
You said if it's wide.
If it's super wide, and how can we tell if something is wide or not? Oh, we have an indicator
Probably be
for
like
it.
a D-shaped day.
Okay, and why would and a D shape? What does a D shape mean for people that don't know what a D means?
A normal day.
Typical
Yeah,
range
that's like
day.
the short-term participants.
Okay,
Within inside the IBs.
okay within the IB? But why? How do we determine the days based on what? It's the
range.
term, the range, as well as what? You guys remember anything about bell curves we talked about at any point?
68%.
Well, something is skewed. If something's trading within the bell curve of first standard deviation, that means, it's concentrated. The value is within 68 to 70% of the day, right? If something's trading outside of that 70%, that means that there's a strong opposition, whether it's buyers or sellers, right, that are pushing the price outside of that value where 70% was found previously. So the days are determined by the skew of the bell curve. If you skew to the upside, meaning if we have, let me go back. So if you're skewed to the upside, right, and let's say, let me have a drawing tool. if the day looks like this, right, where it's P, that tells you that they, if you were to flip this, it would look like this on the bell curve. Is that correct? And if the bell curve sits like this and the standard is here, that means it's skewed to the left. It's skewed to the second and third standard deviation, right, of a curve. Does that make sense? Can you guys vision this or no? Is there anyone that has no idea what I'm talking about? It's okay if you don't.
Can you explain it a bit?
Yeah. So let's see. Let me bring up something here. Let's see, where's the skew? Here it goes. So this is your bell curve, right? Within the first standard deviation, as you guys know, or if you don't, the value when on the profile or stock, on the volume profile or market profile, we treat value as within the first standard deviation, meaning 34, what, 68? That's why I say 68 to 70% is our value. That means on volume profile, 70% of the volume has been treated here. If the price spends majority of the time here, right, we're going to create a value based on time. Market profiles focused on time, that 70% of the time the price spent here. Relatively, right, most of the time, if you're spending a lot of time here, what does that mean for volume? Most likely, they're going to be a match. There's anomalies where it doesn't, but most of the time, you're going to have it. So now, if you're trading a D-shaped profile, right, you can see, you know, a D shape might look like this, where you have a D, a letter D that looks like this, and a big belly in here. And that would mean that there's a lot of periods, A, B, C, D, E, and all the periods are next to each other, correct? And that just means that they are stacking and spending a lot of time at this price level, right? And a lot of time is spent there. And if a lot of time is spent there, most likely the volume is too. Not necessarily all the time, but most of the time. And if it's skewed, let's say if we don't spend a lot of time here, I'm just going to delete all the drawings so you guys can follow. If, let's say we reject all of this price and we spend a lot of time here, that means the price that was ignored here, they believe there's no value found here. They're shifting the value to the upside and they want to trade initially on higher prices above the bell curve. That means the value is shifting. And that's called a trend day or a short cover rally when you have a P, correct? If you have a B profile, those are easy to distinguish, right? Is you will have a value created at one point, and I'll show these all on TradingView. That means you traded here, right? Let's say a piece of information comes into the market, and nothing crazy, right? And they're like, oh, no, we don't agree on that. And they have a sell-off here, and then they're like, okay, well, let's see if there's value here. Because remember, why do we auction lower?
We'll find the buyers.
Sellers.
You look for buyers. When you auction lower, right, in the market auction theory, you go lower in search of buyers. Why do you go higher?
To find the sellers.
You're looking for sellers, right? And when you find sellers, how does that look? And just make sure you guys are paying attention here because this is live, right? To the point where when you find sellers, you find something called access or selling tail or unfair high. If I go on my charts right here, let me see if I deleted it. Hopefully I didn't. I did, yeah. But that's okay. I'll build it all from scratch. So if you look at this, right, that means that the price went to a point where it's not seen as valuable anymore. So let's take a look at this day on right here. So here you have access. Access or unfair high means a period, like a period, doesn't have a partner period next to it. So here you want more than 2 periods to be considered access, right? And here you have 1, 2, 3 single periods. That means there was some supply. Find that there was aggressive seller, a big seller, and the buyers were not able to absorb him. So what did that look like on a tape, right? Is if you look, if you're looking at the order prints, how would that look? Does anyone have an idea? So when you're selling, most likely what happens here, right, is this. So the guy at this level, let's say 6,500, they're going to use it that this is 6,500. Price level here, he had an order that's selling, would he be on the bid side or ask side if he's selling?
It's on
You're at the
ask.
marketplace selling oranges. Are you asking or bidding if you're selling oranges?
Ask.
Asking.
Yeah, you're asking for something. For your product, you're asking to sell. So here would be bid. So then, right, at this level, what this selling tail means that this guy had a large order, right? He was sitting there, maybe an iceberg or a very large order. Let's say he was selling a 5,000 lot. Oh, yes. And the guy that was buying or whoever, let's say he was buying 2,500 here. Does a market buy or a limit buy move the market? The price.
Market buy.
Market buy. So in order for them to get over this level, what has to happen between here and here? This guy has 5,000 to sell. This guy is offering to buy 2,500. And that means small pieces are coming in and hitting market buy, right? You have a lot of retail that's like, hey, all-time highs, who cares? Let me just buy 100 lots. I'm just coming up with a story, right? And they buy 100 lot. What does that mean? Well, that means that now there's 4,900 left, and they still have to continue buying market buy to get over this level. And in this case, that means they met the supply. Supply is there, and it's telling you the buyers were not able to absorb this passive seller, right? And if they're not able to absorb it, most likely is what happened what to price if they can't absorb it. You're gonna
Come down.
you're gonna auction away from it, right? So if you click here, look what happened. We came to that, and what did the price do? We sold off, and if you guys remember that 64, 66 level, right? They came into that level, and they're basically saying, okay, well, let's start buying. And the reason why they started buying is because they were imbalanced. 2 days balance, a breakout. Now you're testing this breakout level, right? So markets go from balance to imbalance. And that's pretty much what happened here, right? We had a balance. We opened higher. We came back inside, then created a 2-day balance here. Let me draw it like right here. You went, and this is your imbalance. This is the trending market. Now, if the bears or are in control, they should be auctioning below this level to seek price lower, right? But we found access on the top, means we found the sellers. We auctioned higher in search of sellers, and we found them. Then the next day, what happens? When you have two periods that are next to each other, or if it's only one period that's left alone, what does that tell you? What's that called?
Poor high.
Yeah. So this would be called poor high, right? And what does poor high mean?
Like an unfinished
Off
business.
auction.
Okay. Anyone else want to give? So can you relate to it in an auction that happens somewhere else? Let's say you're going to market. Can you give me an example for oranges? What happens here? Give me a scenario of the auction. What happens?
There was 2 people that were still bidding on the same orange.
And what happened? Did any of them finalize it?
No.
Okay, they didn't finalize. And what does that mean in the price? Where does price do usually go from poor highs?
Well, it usually comes back. I know that.
Typically auctions lower, right? See if there's something, a level where it's going to intrigue the buyers to come back in. They came back to the 66 level. They had tiny access below, and then they bounced again, came very close and cleaned up the poor highs. Or some people would say repair the poor highs, right? They usually means that you come back and revisit it. But funny enough, where did they reject?
Right at the axis.
The axis from Wednesday, right? They came back here, they fixed the poor high. A poor high tells you that there's a low conviction of buyers, right? That they're not really aggressive to buy. And considering that there was an access here, that means there's a lot of supply available. So it could be a long liquidation that's building up here. Okay. Does anyone have any other example? Is anyone confused what a poor high is? I'll give you guys a moment to think.
So would explaining it kind of like where I guess the buyers just lost interest, is that kind of the same thing? And
That's
they just
exactly
had
it.
to.
That's
Okay.
exactly it. You lose interest. So think about it. Let's say you're selling a bike. My son wanted a new bike. I told him he has 3 bikes. I said, you have to manage the sale of the bike and I'll help you buy it, but I'm not gonna just go buy another bike, 4th bike, and I don't have any space to put it. So if he's selling his bike for $50, right? How would that scenario look like a poor high in a bike selling?
There will be 2 people ready to buy at 50.
So initially people might be like, hey, here's $10, here's 15, 20, 30. And let's say the price comes up to 50, right? And there's not real much interest at price 50 for his bike. And somebody comes in at $60, like, oh, I'll buy a 60. I just want the bike. I love the color, Paw Patrol, all of it on it. And no interest past 60. What does that tell you about his ability or value of the bike going past it?
He has to lower the price to find the buyers.
People have to lower the price, right? But since it's an auction, right, the person that offered 60 is most likely gonna get that bike, but there's not an inch or a penny being offered more than that. Right?
Yes.
When you don't have the conviction at the top, usually you create poor highs, right? So you're telling me in the stock market where trillions are traded, nobody offered a bid above 96.5 on this date. That's what the market's telling you. If nobody is able to offer higher than 96.5, for 2 periods, that's telling you, man, they're not really sure they want to go higher, and they got rejected the following day, Friday. We got rejected here really nicely, and we found some what is this called here?
The selling
Teaching
zone.
is
Fingerprint access.
yeah, this is your access. We just talked about it, so I'm just giving you. So this is your selling tail unfair high, access high. That's one name. People call it differently, right? That means at some point they're going to have trouble getting over this level here greatly, right? You saw the spike when they tried to push it here, and they fell back inside, right? And they closed at a pretty low price here at about 68.5. So it looks like they tried 2 times. They had a poor high, and then they had access that tapped the previous day access. That typically indicates what? If you're to read this, what does that mean to you guys?
Aggressive sellers.
There's sellers sitting there. Prices. Yeah, they're rejecting higher prices, right? And it's persistent, meaning 2 days in a row you're not putting in higher highs, right? You cleaned up these poor highs, but you immediately got liquidated. And buyers are not really there to absorb the supply. There's not enough aggressive buyers because in order to move the price, they got to hit the market buy to get over this. There's not enough here. So typically what this means is the trend is doing what?
Reversing.
Going down.
Yeah, trend is getting a little tired. It's getting a little bit aging, as they call it, right? It's slowing down. And access tells you the price is, a little bit overvalued. So buyers are looking for cheaper prices. Is there opportunity for retail to get trapped on these days? Certainly, right? So tomorrow would be one of them where they can trap them here. They did trap the bears here one time, and they bounced off of this VPOC here. So tomorrow becomes a fairly important day. Is there a high chance that this becomes a liquidation profile and we go all the way down here somewhere at 64.10? Very good chance that happens, right? So does everybody understand the access, at least now, in the supply?
I do, yes.
Yep,
Yeah.
that is
Those also known as single prints.
Single prints occur in the middle of the profile. I would call these as buying tails or selling tails, unfair high, unfair low on the bottom. Single prints, we'll get to it. They show up in the middle of the profile where they separate the value of a, let's say, uppercase B profile.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't clear on that one. So I
Yep.
thought there were.
No,
okay,
yeah.
thanks.
Yep. Okay. So we're good on that. So now what can you see on the opposite side? Well, the opposite side will give you the buying tail, right? So, and that happens quite a bit lately as well. So I typically hide candles when I do the analysis. So I don't really care for them too much. So here, for instance, you can see, the price opened pretty low and A period never really went up. And you see that they continued framing up on every period here. Maybe you can't tell quickly, but they framed up, and the end period is our last period between 4 and 4.15, just a settled price. This is considered access, right? And typically when you have access in A or B period, you want to go in that direction, meaning if the access is in an A period, most likely you're going to have some buying opportunities to go long, right? And the B period, the sooner the better, right? That's how I would treat it. So this one looks pretty good. Right. The next day you see that they open here and they close. So they created a 2-day balance right here. But this is a buying tail. Is this a buying tail? Careful, it's a trap.
No yet until the next trading day
That is
when
correct.
it gets verified.
That is correct. Does everybody understand that? Is this the same? What I'm asking here, oops. Is this selling tail? Same as this one? Or buying tail, I'm sorry. I'm pretty dyslexic.
No,
Are
because
those
it's the
the
last
same?
hour of the day, so it can't be verified.
Right. So does everybody understand what she means by that? Is anyone not following?
I'm not really sure.
Okay. Well, I created something for you guys. I'll share it. So this is market profile in a nutshell. These are your prices, right? So if you go here, this is your prices, right? And each period here is 30 minutes. So this one is 30 and so on. The last period of the day happens to be M period, right? If the M period, so now, right, how you would build a profile. Let's say the B period now, let's mimic what this profile did, here. The B period trades here, here, here. It trades here. Then it trades here, here, sorry, here, and here. Let's say the B period did this, right? And then you have the C period that comes in, and C period does this, 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 right? So now when you combine it, so far, where would the POC be on this profile? POC is what?
ABC where it lines up. It's the
Like twins?
most
Most of the volume.
No, on market, it's
yeah, most of
time.
the volume will be AB.
No, market's time. This is TPOC, time POC. Most of the time spent would be here. So far, right? So this one is 2 TPOs, 2, this is single, this is access. So far this will be the case. Let's just assume we get, you get all of these periods here. I'm just gonna put, and I can model it, but you guys get it.
Mm-hmm.
So you build this on, so a majority of the value, let's say, is here. And that becomes our value area, right, on the market profile. If this is our value right here, and just assume that M period comes in here, and M period is here. So C so far, we traded as high as 17, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just change this so you guys can see it. So C period has the high, and A period has the low right here. So M period, which in this case, what was that created here? Let me see. Here, this means spike. M period creates spikes. And you guys will see me on Twitter or elsewhere. I will say we have a spike or there's a high chance of a spike, right? So that's determined by M period, right? And each period, remember, is just 30 minutes, right? And in the PowerPoint, you guys, once you read it, it will make more sense. And I'm not giving you everything, so you guys can actually do some reading and homework. And I put that in for you guys here. I would give you all the periods and the timing so you guys know what that means. So if you go here and let's say M period, you know, since we're bullish, we have access, we're going to treat it as M period does this. Okay. So if the M period does this, that means there's a spike created. The M period is the last period of the day, right? So if you look here, it's between 3:30 and 4 p.m. That means there's not a next period like that can validate the price action of this period, meaning whether it's going to be accepted. Price can be what?
Accepted or rejected?
Yeah.
Or rejected.
Exactly. So now, if this is our spike here, if this is our level for spike right here, means right above the 17 level, that becomes your spike base. This would be a bullish spike because price is going what? Higher or lower?
Higher.
Because
It's going higher than any other period that we had, which would be the C period that we highlighted here. If it was a bearish spike, it would have been where?
Below the A
below
period.
line 6.
Yeah, it would be here. So if the M period went below, that would be a scenario for bearish spike, right? And we would have something like this, and we would base that, whatever that level is, we call it 5.5. This would be a bearish spike, and this is a bullish spike. So now if you go back to that chart, what happened here, and you can expand this one, and you can see, same scenario, just focus on this day here. We're only focused on this box right here. Okay. What is the last lowest period on this day here?
M.
M period.
No, before M. Remember, M is the one that tells us if we're gonna have a spike or not.
Hey,
So the K low is the lowest period for the day. And believe it or not, if you were to turn on the candles on 30 minutes, what would you see? It would just be one candle for a period of K. So that tells you that this candle created a spike, and this becomes our spike base. And in this case, is this bullish or bearish?
Bearish.
This is a bearish spike base. And this would be on the bottom, would be our bearish spike end, the bottom of the M period. Or known as what? Low, right? It would be the low of the day most of the time. And then end period, you can ignore. I carry and I mark end period here for what reason? Where this little arrow is, I don't know if you guys can see it. What does this little arrow tell you?
Might be RTH closing price.
Yeah, this is your settle price. That means the price settled here after hours between 4 hours and 15. This is a settle price. We'll touch base why it's important. I'm just teaching you your spike. So now we know the bears tried to do what with the price on this day? This was, I believe, Monday, right? What did the bears try to do?
Bring it down.
They tried to auction this price much lower, right? And now if you think about on this day, the day prior, where was the access low? I'm just going to hide the candle so you guys can see it. Where's the access low on this chart, on this day here? This is a new day here, and this is a P shape. Is there any access low here?
Is that on
Yes.
A?
Would it be A period?
It would be right here. That means the access low from Friday, the 8th, is here. And look what they did the following day. The Monday, they came rare. And to the close, they came where? Where the buyers were pretty aggressive on recovering, right? And then you see what happened the next day. They went there. Well, why is the spike important? I'm teaching you this concept because it can help you, with patience and a setup that actually gets repeated and it's pretty successful. So what?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, perfect. I was just testing my mic, but I think I'm good.
Okay. So now that you have identified the spike, what do we pay attention to the next day? If you guys remember, we talked about this actually on the watch list, we said if we open, do not be short, do not be short. I think I was pretty vocal. Don't be short if we open or reject the spike. There's 3 scenarios, and you can mark it 2 scenarios if you want, that happen on a spike. Either the price accepts the spike or price rejects the spike. If the price accepts the spike, where would the price have been below, ideally, in order to continue down?
Below the end.
Below the spike
Base end.
base.
Okay. Can everybody, was this covered when we talked about on Monday night? Did we say exact rules? Were they covered?
Yes.
And where did we open the next day?
I believe we opened above it, didn't we?
Here's where we opened the next day. We opened right here. So what are they telling you about this attempt by the bears to go lower?
They're rejecting it and moving the price higher.
They want the price higher. And then you can see also, right? Let's say we want to merge these 2 profiles. Could we do that?
No idea, never used it.
Yeah. If you right click and you say merge with previous profile, now these 2 are going to combine and give you 1. And here's 1. And now let's just take a look where they bounced it.
Jesus Christ.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
Why would a price bounce here?
Because that is where it was traded the most in last 2 days.
It's the fair price.
It's the fairest price of the 2 days.
Yeah.
If other time frame player wants to buy something, where would you buy it? Careful, it's a trap question. Don't answer it so naively. Where does other time frame people buy stock?
Well below or price, pretty much.
At advantageous prices. Is a POC advantageous price or a fair price?
A fair price.
Fair price.
Fair
Okay.
price.
Where would the other time frame people show up?
At the extremes.
At the extremes. That means they would have been showing up somewhere here. And they didn't, which tells you a lot about buyers of this profile. And is this a true bullish profile here? Does this look like a regular P-shaped profile that you like as a bull?
No.
Why not?
It has too many node distributions where the value area in the mid is, so it's not like a clean P shape.
Does everybody understand that logically, what he just said?
Oh, can you expound on that a bit?
Yeah. Let me give you a scenario. Let's say the price of an Apple Watch or Apple iPhone here. One-time sale was here at $200. An iPhone, and we are trading heavily I released the news that the sources to build iPhone are super low. The price naturally goes higher, right? Just because of the scarcity. And then when you come back, let's just say you get another opportunity to buy it at 200. Would you buy it at 200?
Yeah, because we think it might again go up.
Okay. So if something is a great value, you won't see that price of an iPhone at 200 a lot, right?
Right.
It means the price is gonna come here at 200. It comes and price just goes. Whoop. Is that fair? But if the price comes to 200 and it's going like this, what does it tell you about the demand of this and the aggression?
Aggression is less.
Yeah, the
Demand is
conviction
not.
is demand is not there because you're spending too much time at these price levels. You have a distribution here, you have two TP periods here. So this profile shape is bullshit. It's not driven by
So
other
if you
time
want to
frame
see single
participants.
prints,
You want to see single prints. You want to see something get hit. And you want to see, let's just go as far as we can, find one that was,
there's
pulled
a
back.
profile you just passed.
I want to go back. I want to go as far
Okay.
as I can. At one point where we had value. What do you guys think happened on this profile here? Remember we just talked about you want to see a period of the axis? I have to go on 10 ticks, right, just to figure this one out. Pay attention to this. I can't even zoom in, I'm sorry. So let's just, for a purpose of viewing, this right here is the axis of this period, and it's all a period. This is a massive buying tail, and it's actually the same setup here where they had the spike into the axis, right? This is a really strong axis right here, and that means they dropped to below the value at an advantageous price. When something drops below the value, they snatched it up immediately. And that's what leads, to a good buying. You don't spend a lot of time at a price level. If I was to give you right now, Apple drops their iPhone 17. I don't know if it's 16 or 17 right now. They dropped the price to $50. How many of you guys are dropping off the stream and buying the phone?
I'll buy 6 of them.
Yeah, and you're most likely going to do what?
Sell them at higher price.
Yeah, you're going to sell them at a higher price because how long Apple can keep up that inventory at $50?
Not long.
Not long. So the rule of maximizing profits in any business is what?
Buy low, sell high.
Buy low, sell high. And businesses have to keep increasing the price till they see what?
The buyers get exhausted.
That there's no more buyers and their sales are hurting for the product that they're selling. And if you go back on iPhones used to be like what, $700-800. Now they're $1,300-1,400. Now the question is, does Apple release a new product like iPhone for cheap or economical, or and keep an high end cheap one? All of that's been done by Apple. But when you find something that's below value, you will find the P-shaped profile that basically runs pretty nicely, right? And when you have a P-shaped profile, you don't want to have an average true range. If it's compressed profile, meaning the range is tight between here and here, that usually indicates that there's a trap for the bulls. If it looks like a P shape and it looks like this, and these are all single prints, what does that tell you about the price in this area?
Long-term buyers find value and bought it up.
Yeah, the price came really good. They loved it. And how much time did it spend there? Not even 30 minutes, since it's once TPO. You want to see a single period on P-shaped profiles. Those usually mean short cover rally is starting, right? And now, if you look at this profile that we're in, all right, let me go back into this time zone. So in this case, right, just to cover the bear spike, it got rejected, and I said there's probably a high chance we're going to go We had some unfinished business, right, on ETH. If you go back here, there was some unfinished business here. They came back at 6503. They swept it and then they auctioned away from it, right? So bear spike is, does everybody understand how to play the spike? If it's a bear spike, if you open below the base, most likely you're going to continue that direction. That means the spike is being accepted. The late push by the bears is being accepted. Go with the spike. And typically, I look for the levels of balance. Like somewhere around here would be a good level to target. And if they fail here, most likely we go here somewhere 6,400 in between. This would be a pretty good level to target, right? Because this is the bottom of the previous value. You're looking for opposite extremes. Okay. In this case, they rejected it. They got more, not the most conviction of buying, right? Just the way we covered it. P shape is really multiple periods altogether. So that did not happen, right? So let's delete this brush. Let's have a lot of brushes here. Yeah, that's good enough. Does everybody understand bear spike and how to play it? So you open below it, you're leaning more bearish. If you open below it, right, and you see that there's some buyers coming in and they reclaim that, do not be short. I promise. Usually it recovers a short cover rally and it goes, and that's what happened here. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens. Mm-hmm.
Because maybe I was misinformed, because I always thought like the spike wasn't bearish or bullish until the next day.
That's why we wait for the next
As
day.
a bearish spike? Because
just the attempt.
Did you identify this as?
The attempt was to go lower. So tomorrow we wait to see if that bear spike is going to be accepted lower or if it's going to reject, like this case. And same one happened here. It was tiny.
Got it.
The next day you validate whether that's going to be. So let's see here. Here, I think there was a small spike. Yep. You guys see this case? Let me go lower this and you guys will see it.
So it's like pending bullish, not bearish, excuse me.
Pending bearish needs a confirmation. And that's why we wait for tomorrow's open and auction to see whether, if it was accepted, that goes a lot lower. If it was rejected, also means you're going to go a lot higher. But you have to market something. You can treat it, as a spike base and don't put any. I'm teaching you to know where it's bearish and where is a bullish spike. Bullish spike is an attempt to go higher. Bearish spike is an attempt to go lower. And the next day you validate it.
Hey,
does that make
Corey,
sense?
I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
So like Monday 11th, you know how they had that spike and they gapped up the next day?
Yep.
Would that spike be important, say like in the next coming up days if they want to come and retest it?
Yeah, I was gonna go there. That's a good question. That was the next point. When do you carry forward a spike?
Wait, ask that again.
So when do I carry forward? Meaning, when do I carry this level forward? So this is a spike. This is a spike from Monday, and you can carry this forward, right?
Until it's revalidated, or
until it's revalidated or revisited, right? So in this case, this level is still a valid one, right? This would be our spike phase. I think it was the 8th, right? 11th, Monday 11th.
Yeah, 11th. Yeah.
Spike base. So in this case, this becomes a level that we get carried forward, right? So if I was to put out a scenario tomorrow, right, and this is just a speculative scenario, is that we go somewhere here, and then we go here, and then we come back and explore this area a little bit more. Highly potential scenario that they trap the people below this cumulative POC that we have, drop below, hit the spike, bounce, and fill this LVN. This is a low volume node. There's not much time or volume spent here. Do you guys agree? The volume is being created. The value is being created here and here. There's no value here, 0. So if the price, let's say tomorrow, they reject that 66, 61 area, and they rejected lower, I am pretty certain that we can play some SPX and make 300-400% in really short period of time here. As they go higher tomorrow, right, I'm going to look to see if they can reject this somewhere here. And what kind of drive would that be?
Open reject reverse.
Open reject reverse would be ideal tomorrow. And that's what we're going to keep an eye on tomorrow. Let me just ask for feedback. How is this approach of a class instead of just being stuck in the PowerPoint? I prefer to give you guys more live and mix it in with the knowledge coming in. So you guys have black and white. Like you can have the black and white here, and you guys need to put in the effort, right? Which will teach you, like what we just talked about. You know, the buyers, they put the bids, the offer puts the ask. If there's no transaction, means the order never matched, meaning that my highest bid and lowest ask never aligned, therefore there's no transaction. And the stock and the market's just there, you know, the locals, the dealers, right? They're there basically to do what?
Facilitate the trade.
Yeah, they're just there to facilitate a trade between the car manufacturer and you. Who's the dealer? Who's the broker?
Dealer.
Ford makes cars. You want to buy a car. Do you go to the manufacturing of a Ford and you're like, man, I want the F-150 on the track right there?
That will be the dealership.
That would be the dealer. The dealer is the guy that finds, it's like, oh, you want a car at Ford 150? I don't know if you guys remember, but like 2020, right? Car buying. And you guys know I went a few times to piss people off at the dealerships when I would be bored. I would go and look at GMC Yukon's. Wife wanted a new one, and I went. And it was like, yeah, this one's 128 grand. I said, sure, I'll give you 70K cash if you like it. And they told me to get the fuck out. Verbatim. They told me to get the fuck out of the dealership. I said, okay, you can call me when you're ready. Do you think they called me?
I don't know.
They called me.
Well, years later, maybe.
Yeah, they called me. They keep your number, and they're like, hey, if you have that similar offer and add 15K, we can get you a car. I said, man, my offer went down to 62K if you guys want. She's like, man, you're an idiot still. I said, okay, thanks, man. I still did not get the car, but they did not get my cash because Yukon is not worth $128,000, and I think it's worth about 60 to 70. But that's a full package, meaning you give me all the bells and whistles. I don't have to listen to the kids crying in the back. They have enough space not to bother me. That's the car. But I'm not willing to pay it. Therefore, the auction did not meet the buyer and the seller. Or they're buyers that bought 130K, a Yukon that their engine is now being recalled all over. A lot. Yeah, there's a lot of people with those Yukons that are sitting. It's like, man, I bought a Yukon and I can't even drive it. And the backup for the engine replacement is 2 years. That's okay. I just keep waiting. Once they fix those issues and people that did the price discovery for Shorty, I will thank them in 2 years and I'll buy that car for 65K brand new. Probably next year I'll be able to buy that car for 60. So just give them cash and they're gonna be like, okay, we take it. If you don't believe me, watch. I'll keep you updated next year. But am I in a rush to buy it? No, I'm not a trader that I have to buy that car or a stock at a particular level. When we did the stock scan, I mentioned if you wait, you might get rewarded where you buy it. The stock market and the auction is a mechanism of doing what? It's a mechanism of taking the money from impatient and giving them to the patient. That's all the stock market does. When you get eager and you see people buying PLTR at 170, I promise, you follow the masses, what happens to the masses? I'll let you guys do the history. You end up with the masses. You end up slaughtered.
Slaughtered.
So, so far we've covered only a handful of concepts, right? A market profile, right? If you want to understand it, you know, in detail, I can cover this class in about 30 minutes, guys. Like 1 hour, I can cover it all, and you guys are going to be like, "What in the world did you talk?" We covered. Everybody now should know what is a period, right? When I say a period's making lower lows, what does that mean? Where do you see a period making lower lows? Does everybody understand what that means?
Yeah, that is on August 14th. Yeah.
Yeah. So here you see the A period high is right here, right? And then a B period high is right here. That means here the B period is making lower lows, and here B made lower lows, right? So lower highs and lower lows equal what?
Bearish.
It's called a trend change, right? So if you think about candle, let's just say I remove this. Has anyone learned like naked trading and trading just naked charts? Back in the day, right? We didn't have these tools till like 1980s, right? Where they're automated. There's only a handful of pieces of information that you would get as a trader, and I'll share you guys some slips so you can see it. It was the 4 pieces of information that we got from the daily was open, high, low, and close. That was on one day that you had. When you look at this day here, what can you tell? But if I give you no other tools but just this candle, you only have 4 pieces of information, do you? You can't tell me you have more because you don't. If you just have this, you have nothing else. You know the range, where it opened, the high, the low, and the close, and where it opened. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
So with the introduction of these tools, it's not a strategy that changes the market profile. It's how the data tells you stuff inside of it. And that's kind of what market profile does, and it tells that to you live. If I was to add moving average, I'm not saying it's bad. If you're using them, sure, use them. Let's see, what is this one? This one is 9. Is this a true market representation of a moving average here?
It would be a laggy.
It's a lagging indicator, right? I mean, you need historical data to calculate a moving average, right? And that's the math behind it. Can you incorporate moving averages with your trading strategies? Sure, right? Nobody's going to tell you not to. I won't. I just don't necessarily use them that much in my analysis. And if you look here, right, the market can tell you a lot of information throughout the day. It's called MGI, market generated information for market profile, right? So we know 2 pieces of information so far on this 3 days, right? We know the excess high was being built here on Wednesday. We knew that there was a poor high on Thursday, correct? This was a poor high here.
Yes.
This was a poor high, means that there was unfinished auction. Most likely they're going to come back, fix it, and repair it. And they did. They came back, they fixed it, they repaired it, and they did it with, you know, with a nice style by finding what? What happened on Friday?
Not the price down.
So the price went to that unfair high from Wednesday and sold off, and then the excess was much greater, right? So now carried forward access here is somewhere sitting at 64.86. But what is happening to the access? It's shifting lower, poor high fixed. What other piece of information do you have? There's one that's critical and it's relevant to market profile. I just want to make sure you guys are catching that when you're trading. On this day, there's something critical that happened.
You got a B-shaped profile.
Yep. Very good.
The point of control shifted low.
And yeah, I was about to say that the value shifted lower.
Okay, that's a very, very good point. So what they're talking about, the value was here, right? And now the value, I'm just going to draw it here, is shifting down, and this is called an overlap down value, and you have access at the top. You know, are you in a 3-day balance? Certainly, this is a 3-day balance. Don't treat it any other way than that. This is a 3-day balance. In order to break out of 3-day balance, can Shorty and you guys do it, or you need something else?
The time frame participants.
You need other time frame participants. So now if I merge this profile, what type of day should this 3-day look like?
Uppercase B.
Think again. It's gonna be like a perfectly
Oh,
D
D
shape.
shape. Oh shit.
D. Yeah.
God damn.
So now this is your D shape, and 99% sure that this, if you grab it here and you go to the bottom of it, where's the 50% gonna be?
Dead in the middle. Almost.
Let's
I guess
see.
it's a little below.
Let's see. Retracements. And let's see, where's the 50%? Right next to the POC. That's what you anticipate to be in the D shapes. How do you trade? So this is the next level. I'm pushing you guys a little bit of knowledge how to trade it. Might be early for some of you. How do you trade these shapes?
Along the bottoms.
Along the bottoms,
Short the tops.
short the tops. Do
Exit
you
at
just
PRC.
exit at the PRC or find the 50% of that bracket or range? When I say bracket, what does that mean? Peter called it brackets. Jim Dalton changed it to a balance. This is just a bracket. If you're trading with a bracket, means it's a bracketed market here. We're in the bracket, so if I take this off, we're just trading here. We're in balance brackets. That's the same name. I just don't want you to get confused. So if you look now, there's something really important happening here. When I merged it, it's really, really key. You have a level for tomorrow that's identified, and it's literally slapping you in your face and saying, please be above this if you're a bull, be below this if you're a bear. What is that level? It's like perfectly aligned. I haven't seen it this good in a very long time. What is the value area high?
Value area.
Say
Yeah, I was about to say the value area high of that uptrend that caused the imbalance, and the value area low of the balance.
And that happens to be a 3-day. We call that first standard deviation, or sig1 of 3 days, right? You guys agree?
Yeah.
If I want to shift this to a
Yes.
second standard deviation, this is a math test. Where does this number go to?
95.
95. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
If that goes to 95, that means that this is where I can expect who to show up in this area.
Other time frame participants.
Other time frame people are going to be sitting right in this area trying to buy price below it and bring it back inside. So how do you play brackets tomorrow, right? Especially tomorrow. I'm leaning somewhat bearish based on the close of Friday, and you guys have not responded yet. Why? Even though it's balanced, I have to be super careful. Something happened on Friday, unless we get some news from our president overnight. Something happened that was different than any other day.
They closed below the 469.
Well, they opened where? And they closed where?
Oh, outside of value.
Well, they opened super high, right? They opened at the extreme of the value of the 2-day, which was here. So if I was to merge these 2 days, right? If I just merge the left side, right? Let me just try that. I'll just merge these two, leave this one alone now. So my computer picks up speed. Okay, so now you see, for instance, right? I'm just going to delete this stuff here. When you're in a bracket, you don't want to buy where. So this is a 2-day value area high, or 2-day sig1, as we call it. Why is it sig? Well, same reason why we called it bell curve. Sigmas, or first standard deviations, are defined on a bell curve. First, second, third. And I give you guys a pretty good picture right here. 2 sigma, first sigma, third sigma. Does that make sense? This is in your PowerPoint that you guys can retrieve at any time. Does everybody follow so far?
Yes.
Okay, so I just copied it here for you. That means the first standard deviation that you're seeing here between this line and this line on the bottom is this 34 and 34. That means 68% of the volume here. Well, this one was 68. I'm sorry, I changed it. Let's change it back to 68. You will see it now. It's going to shift down. It's going to compress because it's going to look where 68% of the volume was traded. And you see the high, the value area high is right here at 89. Right here, and the bottom is right here. So that's our, and I have this saved so you guys can save it later. But so this is our first sig. This was our somewhere second sig, and then this is also second sig right here. I believe this is our second sig. Whatever. So now I'm expecting buyers to show up at these extremes where we peak above and sell. if you're going to print a slide out of training today, I would say make sure it's this one. Right here. So now you guys will have a test since a lot of you guys are confident. Here goes a test. When we go in a bracketed market, like we are here, when you go above, meaning this is the value that you're trading. Hopefully you guys are following what I'm trying to do. This is the value. This is the value here, right? When the price goes above value, what is the most probable activity to occur? Let me hide this before you guys start cheating.
The responsive
participants
go up.
sell.
What is expected behavior above the value area high in the bracket market? Is it buying or selling?
Selling.
Selling is expected behavior, meaning there's very high chance in bracketed markets that you want to be selling. And what I typically do, the way I treat it is, you know, we knew that this was a second standard deviation. They peaked above it. They swept this high, right? And there was also access. There was a lot of information that was given to us by market, right? So if you go here, you're looking for short opportunities above. They trapped some people, and then they sold off. They went to the bottom. So now if there was any late shorts tomorrow, and if they still want to go lower, they're going to give us a bounce first. And you can use maybe the POC, right, off that range to look for a short. But since they opened pretty high, they closed low. That means the trend is stalling. We have 2 days of access. If tomorrow they fail to go lower, we're going to make a new all-time high. Does that make sense? If the bears fail tomorrow to put in lower low, we're putting in new all-time high. And tomorrow, if they do that, I'm giving you targets. It's going to be 56507 that we're going to hit. If they fail to get inside of this bottom value below. Okay. Reason why I'm bearish is that you have a selling pressure building up from Wednesday. Poor high was in between. They got swept. You opened high, you trapped the bulls, and then you closed at the lows. That means the selling pressure is there, that they're really, really selling at these levels, that there's not many buyers found. Just like that auction for my son's bike, it started low, and as it reached 50, 60, nobody was calling, right? And same as here, as people are asking for 6,500, 6,498, what's happening? There's not much buyers to take that. There's not much initiation because that's not expected behavior in the brackets, especially at all-time highs. If you're below the value, you're going to get responsive activity. And is that expected or not expected?
Expected.
This is expected, guys. This is still extremely bullish. We're still in a very bullish scenario here on the market. You're shifting the value. You absorb 2 days, poop higher. Absorb 2 days. Now is it poop higher or do you poop and go lower, right? So that's the question. I'm thinking that they might trap some, time to have a little bit of pullback, but who knows? Tomorrow is going to be a telling. And you can have one bad trade day tomorrow where you lose the first trade, but every other trade should be green. You guys understand what I'm telling you? If you're caught on the wrong side once, you should not be caught on the wrong side the next time, because then there should be a clear picture of what's happening. If they go below and they fail to reclaim this, then you have a reason to be short. They go here, and let's say you short and they reclaim it. Should you short it?
No.
No, you should not short it. You're at all-time highs, value shifting. So tomorrow is going to be important, the open drive, right? But the only thing that's telling me here is there's some exhaustion happening here. Exhaustion happened on this day where we had the poor high. We couldn't bid more. Then you met access 2 days on this distribution. You had access and then you closed at the lows, somewhat bearish, right? So you just have to be careful on being an extreme bull immediately. Or swinging calls here, probably not the best idea for tomorrow. But let's see, right? One tweet changes the whole game. Does that make sense, the analysis that I just gave you and how I computed it? Along with that chart that I said that you should print out. Does it make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, it makes sense.
Okay. All right, so now that we covered, so far we know what each period stands for, how to build it, right? And I'm gonna give you guys some homework where you guys are gonna give me different type of days and what it would look like, where you build P shape, what does it look like? What does a D shape look like? What does a B shape look like? And I want you to spot it out and draw it out so that way you can resemble this, because it becomes a pattern of recognition in seeing, right? So when you look, for instance, we talked about the D shape, this is clearly D being built at the top, a bad P shape, right? This is called somewhat of a neutral day. When you have access on both sides, what does that tell you? Who's in control?
Short term.
Short term, correct. So in addition to other slides, this slide here is gonna simplify your trading by at least 50%, at least it did for me. I would say that you really, really should know this. Okay. Normal days, typically the range roughly of 80%, 85% of it is between the A and B period, which means what? What is A and B period form again?
Initial balance.
IB. So that means if that's the case, that you're not going to have an extension in C period that's accepted, and then you fall back inside, and then you have a wide balance. When you have a wide balance, the odds are lower that you're going to have a trend day. That means you're going to have a D shape day. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And your homework will be, after you finish this slide, that you're going to create these days in Excel and send them, and we can send it to me or we can partner with each other. So make sure you guys understand this, okay? Normal variation, how would this be different? Here you don't have an extension. In a normal variation, you have an extension, but how far does it go is the difference. First of all, the balance that you have in a normal variation is not going to be as wide, right, as a normal day. So therefore you can still explore it, right? When it's a wide initial balance, and I gave you guys an example. If I have a lamp that's sitting on a base like this, and let's say you have a lamp that looks like an arrow. Trying to extend this. Let's say this is the lamp that you have. Or if I have a base of a lamp that's this, which one's going to tilt over? One with the smaller base or one with the larger base?
The smaller.
Yeah, and it's the same with the balances, right? And so you have an indicator in TradingView that you can call, it's called initial balance. And now what you see on your charts is these yellow areas, right? That means this is where the A and B period traded, right? And then if the tighter the area, the higher the odds that you're going to trade out of it, right? That there's going to be other time frame participants coming in and kind of cracking through it just because it's super tight. Short-term traders create two-sided activity, and they're really happy to trade it because it defines what easily when you're in a bracket of a short term like this.
High and low.
High and low, that means your risk and reward are what? They're limited.
Yeah, limited.
You know where you're going to buy, you know where you're going to close. You close at 50, you close at the extreme. You sell at the extreme, you cover at the middle, and you cover at the bottom. If you're not trading at the extremes on the brackets, that means you're just fucking yourself over by limiting your own reward by increasing the risk. Does that make sense?
Yep.
A person that initiates a trade in a bracketed market, right, in the middle of somewhere, instead of the extremes, you have a really bad chance that you're going to play out in a scenario and a reward that you're looking for. Let this merge. All right, here we go. So now you see that we rejected this, first sig here really nicely of the 3 days. We came here. This is an opportunity to sell, right? Now you're telling me that everything that you've spent here, time, is what? Is the price accepted or rejected here?
Rejected.
Very good. So it's rejected because, look, the value is here now. We attempted to create value at the top, and we sold off here on this day. We tried to get back inside and say, hey, we want to go to the penthouse. And what they say?
Nope.
No, you belong lower. So now, when you think about it, balance to imbalance. Now, if they can't hold this tomorrow, the odds are that you're coming back somewhere. You're going to test somewhere in here. This will be the area you're testing, right? And this was a prior all-time high, right? And this run with that value area low, is there a chance that they offer some sort of bounce in this area? Oh, yeah. This area offers bounce. Now, if I look at this as a volume, right, because I'm interested to know where's the volume shifted up, and we're struggling to go keep above it. What is that telling you? If I'm struggling to make higher highs and the volume is increasing, what do you think is happening?
The likelihood to drop lower is increasing.
Very good. Yeah. There's a higher chance that we might auction lower to search for buyers. And I'm not saying it happens, but we're going to find out tomorrow. And I'll watch this level 74 to about 80 to see what happens. Remember on Friday when I was like, man, this guy 80 and 81 will just not go away? Does anyone remember when I was trading live and I said that this guy is pretty adamant?
Yeah.
Now, when you look at that level, look at what level was he adamant. You approach the extreme high and he's like, hey, you can have it. Take it all. He was selling at the extremes. As you went above the value, he's selling to you. Who sells below or above value? Who sells above value?
Other time frame participants.
Yeah, they're eager to give it to you. I mean, if I was able to say, hey, this class now is $15,000 for each one of you, and there's 50 of you, man, that'd be great. And if I say that this class is $5, a lot of you be like, yeah, man, it's worth $5. It's great. So you want to buy below the value and you want to sell above the value. And that's exactly what that slide was denoting earlier that I was putting up for you guys. Okay. So there's two PowerPoints, right? There's one market profile, right? And then there's one that's volume profile. There's a lot of similar concepts, right? Value, but there's different, concepts that you can trade between the two. Market profile does give you also a lot of information that's generated, and volume profile does too, but they're two different concepts. One is based on time, one is based on volume. You do combine them both because time plus volume and price equal what?
Value.
Value. Okay. And that's what I'm trying to teach you. How do you know when the price is shifting, when the liquidation is potentially forming like it is here? Those are the things that you will eventually come out and you'll be able to read the market, quickly and easily to understand what is happening. A lot of you guys that are either new to market profile or even trading, right? If you've never traded before, you're probably in better hands than if you relied on EMAs, moving averages, I don't know, Bollinger Bands, whatever you guys use. What's that guy that was trading on ITCs? All of those modules that people trade, and I'm not saying this is the only way. If you're successful trading EMAs, by all means, stay there. If you want to understand how the price shifts, value, accepts, rejects, market generating information, then I can help you learn that. And that's, if you're not new, then you don't have to erase the previous knowledge and you don't have to have a contradicting level of data. Oh man, the EMA is crossed, that's bearish. And then you're walking into a major buy zone and you're like, oh, I'm going to short it because EMA said so. Well, most likely you're going to get screwed. Or bull flags or any of those patterns that you guys might be familiar with. I don't necessarily use a lot of that, right? I'm familiar with it. I've been there. I've traded pretty much everything. I've seen everything. I've seen it form. But honestly, price action, value is pretty much the only true representation that you see at the markets. And then people just came up and coined different ideas and naming of those models, right? Single prints, people call FGVs or whatever they call outside on Twitter. That's been there for 40 years now, guys. It's just that name coined at that point was called single prints. It means that there was an imbalance in the buying or selling, that there was an aggressive seller to swept the book. You can call it whatever you want, but there's a meaning behind it and how to play it. I think this is a good stop. And I think this, from market profile standpoint, we covered about 20%, unfortunately. But I think we covered it at a pace where it gives you a little bit more eagerness to learn more, hopefully. And instead of me, I could have gone through this PowerPoint, guys, and covered every single slide, and you guys would have been like, man, what is going on? I think it's better next Sunday. We devote 2 hours, 2-3 hours. You cover it and you learn it. And then if you have questions in between now and then, I would suggest that you guys ask. And in order to make this fair and measurable, I'm going to do something that I haven't done in a while. I'm going to release the quiz. You guys are going to have to take that quiz, and that's going to tell me how much you guys know. Okay. Are you guys ready for that?
Where will that quiz be, Shorty?
I'm going to release it to you in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Oh.
So I created a quiz where you guys are going to take a quiz, and it has a bunch of questions and examples. And you guys are just going to, I'm asking you just to put your Discord name in there, right? And once you put the Discord name, I'll ask you to take it now. And then I'll ask you, once you're done with the market profile, if we go at the pace that we're going in now, I would expect the skew of the results to shift where? Right now, you're going to be all over the place, I think. When you guys take the quiz, you might be confused what's going on, where. Results will be everywhere. Some people might be better, but I expect the results to fall within closer to the mean. All of you guys are going to go and catch up eventually after next week. We take the quiz again, and that what's it going to tell me as a teacher for you guys is if I see the results are not going towards the mean, what is it telling you about my teaching and your understanding? That it's not going well. So I want you guys eventually the goal is to get you guys to grow in the same group and same understanding and progressing, right? Because I keep this group and Discord tiny, right? Not for the purpose of, I don't like you guys, but I can't teach thousands of people. And where people are consistently and eager, I pick up people that want to be and they want to learn. If you don't want to learn, you're welcome to, just go ahead and drop off and cancel your Discord. That's great. If you want to learn, you're gonna learn piece at a time, and I can measure what you're learning, and that's the purpose of the quiz. If I don't do this, sure, can you make $100,000 tomorrow and buy UNH calls? Yes, I promised you the 100 that you made, you're gonna lose it a week after. It's about knowing how to play the market, when to attack, when to be defensive, and use the tools at your repertoire that you can develop something, develop net worth, develop skill set. Eventually, if AI continues the way it's going, a lot of you guys that have a job elsewhere, you will not have a job. So either you invest in yourself now and your family and kids, or you might be, wondering what universal income looks like. So I'm not telling you, give up or anything, but you want to make sure that you have some way to structurally learn. Is there YouTube? Certainly, you can learn a lot of stuff on YouTube. I'm giving you a chance to take the quiz, let me know where I'm not doing a good job. Tell me what you're not understanding via results, black and white. Is P&L a good black and white? Sure, I agree. But P&L can be also deceiving. With people using funded accounts, your feelings are not in it, guys. I'm telling you, losing $150,000 of your own money versus one funded account of it, $150,000, totally different feeling. I've been there, right? I've lost $60K before, and it hurts. And it hurts a lot because it takes a lot to save $60K. So if you guys can, I will share this link with you guys. Take the quiz, put the Discord name as you have it. Please don't come up with some random names that I can't reconcile to who took it. The idea is that I will look at this. I will send you your score. You will see the score after the next week Sunday's class. You guys will learn more. And then you take the quiz again, then you take a quiz again. And eventually, once you understand the concept, then we can be like, hey, where would you take the setup? What's the setup that you're looking for? That's how you want to learn. If you want to learn all at one, mambo jumbo, sure, I can give you that. I can give you that, but I don't think that's realistic for all of you guys. Not even for me. So I will share this now, and I will let you guys take it at your own time, and then let's go from there. How's that?
Sounds great.
Good. Sounds good.
Will you be grading on the value area?
It's actually, I created a macro that generates it, yes. But I won't bell curve your answers. All right. Well, thank you guys. It's almost 3 o'clock. I gotta go. I promised kids I'll take them for a bike ride today, so I'm gonna get off. I will write up. I mean, your analyses are here. If you guys post them in the main chat, right? People will give you feedback. I'll give you feedback. I'll write up tonight for what I'm looking for with clear levels. But we're in a 3-day bracket, and based on what you know today, you can generate what the plan would be. Lose this level, regain it, accept, reject the level, put that together for yourself on a paper. Next day, even if you don't trade, just check to see if that worked out. Eventually, what it does, it creates confidence in what you're seeing and how the market's behaving, and that's what you want. You want the confidence as a trader. Any football player, basketball, soccer player, talk about Kobe, Michael Jordan, and these are extremes, right? They didn't succeed because they're like, man, I'm going to miss that. They probably succeeded because they practiced and they said, fuck that, I'm going to make that last shot. And they did it over and over and over till failure was really just they were immune to it. And your job as a trader is to accept the losses, right? Define losses, but also accept the rewards. And you cannot succeed in this game of trading if you do not do that. I promise you, everything you're doing is just bizarre. So hopefully it makes sense. And I will release this quiz right now, and I will give you guys a link that you're going to take it. Okay.
Hey, Shorty, I got a question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have the clouds on TOS, but I got them on TradingView. Would we look for stocks in a long-term portfolio the same way?
Yeah, I created them TradingView and TOS. You have a little bit of more gimmicks, right? Because of the scanners. And only the folks that bought the lifetime membership got the TOS studies. Okay. If anyone's interested, we can talk about it. I think I'm being fair when I give you guys a deal on some of this stuff. And I let other people speak, right? They've been in the Discord with me for some time. Typically, these long-term picks that we talk about, they fare well. They do a pretty decent job on returns, so that you get your payback rather quickly. Yep, if you don't have them in trading, you just shoot me a message and I'll make sure that you do have them, because that's just a study I can give you.
Shorty, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
I had a few questions on the TPO setups, like outside period and several other questions. I guess I should reserve those questions for next week.
Sure. Just write them down or post them or message me in the chat, and I can make sure I cover them. Whatever is easier for you.
Okay, cool.
Yep. And maybe there will be questions on the quiz. Who knows? So, and if anyone's interested, if you're debating, if you want to join, you're welcome to join. We'll probably add 10 to 15 spots in the Discord. Some folks became lifetime memberships, so I know we have time. They're committed. If you're interested, you have a link in my Twitter. You can definitely join. If not, you get some content for free. You just don't get to trade live with us. But I do offer a lot of these activities at no cost, right? And as you guys know, I offer one-on-one to guys and people and women that are committed. I don't charge you guys for one-on-one trainings at all. Most people try, a lot of money to spend time with somebody to teach them. I've done a lot of one-on-ones multiple times with people. Actually, I have one tonight where I devote time, me and you, charts alone, questions alone, and it stays pretty confidential. That's free of charge, but I'm not gonna give you my time if you're not committed, right? It wouldn't be fair to me and my kids and family. So once I see that you're serious, you have questions, you're reasonable, I do offer that time to you guys where you can have one-on-ones unlimited, where we can talk about what you want, how you want to grow, and I help you get there. All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a good day. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow live. I'll be trading and we'll go from there.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Shorty.